the 7th of January 2022, when I did my first intentional review. I basically chose to review an actual review, by the way, the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Batgirl from the Arkham Knight game. I believe she appeared in the DLC, and if you play them in timeline order, you're meant to play the DLC first. I have never finished the Arkham Knight. I did Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, but never finished Arkham Knight. The Batgirl by Hot Toys for the Arkham Knight game. A beautiful masterpiece that needed the spotlight, based on her appearance in the Arkham Knight game, naturally. The video wasn't perfect. I made multiple mistakes without denying that. In editing, I of course was able to cut down a few minutes, but in the end the video was published at 13 minutes long. I loved recording that review, and to this day Batgirl still stands in my glass cabinet right at the front and centre. I think it is a fantastic 1/6 scale figure, a replica. Following that though, I went on to review many more figures. One, of course, the 1/6 scale third party Joel from The Last of Us came with many accessories, many iconic pieces from the video game, such as the photo of him and Sarah. It came with the broken watch, it came with the cup, so like tea or coffee cup, backpacks, multiple weapon accessories as well, and additionally even, a multiple weapon pack was also released separately for the 1/6 scale figure. You could pay, I think it was £30 more, and get a bunch more accessories. I didn't, and in the end it did sell out quickly, and to some degree I regret it now, but the likes of the internet, you are able to find more. And of course so many people are getting into 3D printing now, or 3D modelling. It wouldn't be hard to make your own or get them from another party in particular. Following the Last of Us Joel figure, I reviewed the Rey and BB-8 double pack from The Force Awakens, again another Hot Toys, and that was 1/6 scale. Great piece. I loved The Force Awakens. Again, I won't go into a huge in-depth my thoughts on the movies as a trilogy, but the initial Force Awakens movie, yes, I did really enjoy that. Following Rey, I also did the Mandalorian from, obviously, Star Wars again, Mandalorian and the Child. I won't say his name just in case there are those out there that are listening and watching that aren't familiar with who the Child is. So yes, hush. By now I imagine so many people have seen it, but it's a good series, and if you've not watched it, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, you can still enjoy the Mandalorian. It's not all lightsabers and force and all sorts of that. It's I won't say down to earth because it's sci-fi, but it is an easier Star Wars series to just jump into and watch off the bat. It starts off with a bounty hunter, and that's where the story begins. Then I did my first Funko Pop review. It wasn't called a review at the time. I titled it Exclusive Guardians of the Galaxy Steelbook, as this was from Zavi, by the way. They did I can't think of the art style, but they did some exclusive steelbooks for the Marvel movies. I picked one up, and I already had a Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy Pop figure, so I unofficially reviewed them together as a double, and that was on the 26th of January. 2 days later I published another 1/6 scale video. This was Two-Face by Hot Toys. This was based on the Dark Knight trilogy, the Dark Knight movie in particular. I think by now it's safe to say many people have seen the Dark Knight trilogy and the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, Christian Bale, etc. Two-Face, naturally, the figure I've got is when he becomes Two-Face, so Harvey Dent right at the end of the movie, after half of his face is gone. I say that, but the movie is quite a long movie. Again, another masterpiece in my opinion. You can't really fault the Dark Knight. It is a great movie, a great thriller, and another one of the great superhero movies. But again, I think that's because it's down to earth a bit more. It's more believable. It's not too far-fetched. I did more reviews after, but the next big one for me was the Horizon Forbidden West Collector's Edition. It came with a statue of the Tremor Tusk. So basically, if you're not familiar with the video game, it's set in the near future. And it's sort of like Terminator in a way. There's Terminator movies, but the near future, instead of there being robot sort of men and women, instead of it being machines that have taken over the human race, it's more these machines were built like animals as such, and the Tremor Tusk is an elephant or a mammoth. And this collector's edition did come with a nice statue of Aloy, tiny by the way, looking at the camera, tiny, but the Tremor Tusk then stood much taller, so it gave you a good idea in scale. It was a lovely collector's edition, and again another one that I felt I had to share. In my review I mentioned though that unlike Cyberpunk, the Horizon Forbidden West collector's edition didn't actually come with a copy of the game. You simply had a slip inside that said, here is your activation code, go online, activate it, and the game is yours digitally. And I have to admit that is the one negative I gave the review, is just to say that why in this day and age, how costly would it be just to print the copy onto a disc, a copy of the game onto a disc, and put it in. I think it even came with a steelbook. It did. The game came with a steelbook, but not the game inside, only a piece of paper. And I just, yeah, it was the one negative I gave that review. On March the 4th, I did a review video based on all 3 third-party Last of Us figures. And I say third-party because officially they're not licensed and they're not, they're not official figures as such. The characters included Joel, Ellie, and a clicker. I would love to see more come out. They might do when the TV series comes next year. But yes, I would like to see. Sarah would be good, but she's only really in the game right at the beginning. There's Bill, there's Tess, there's Joel's brother. There's a whole bunch of characters they could add for your figure collection. And at the moment, because I have a Joel and Ellie, another clicker would be a good idea. The clickers are basically like an infected zombie. And they're more like the villain. And as I've got Joel and Ellie, I've got one clicker in the counter at the moment. Having an additional one might be quite cool. And they go quite cheap, it's just really a body with a clicker's head, and you got additional hands. So it's a very simple 1/6 scale figure. On YouTube, I went on to basically review the Black Widow artwork again. I revisited it. I then reviewed the figure, the 1/6 scale figure from Endgame, Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure. Back to the channel, I did review the Resident Evil 8 Collector's Edition. The game, the statue, well, not so much the game, but the statue itself, that was the key point of the review. The Spider-Man and MJ, I did this more as a posing session than anything, but I did review kind of, in a way. I guess it's more, when you're posing figures, it's more promoting them in a way, isn't it? Because you're showing people what you can do with them. But yes, the Spider-Man from No Way Home, was it Far From Home? Far From Home, No Way Home followed. The red and black suit from Far From Home, and MJ, who's played by Zendaya as well, just so we're all under the same page here. I put a posing video of those two together in 1/6 scale form. Following that, I did the entire Mandalorian Funko line that they had originally when the first series came out, I think it was. Or was it the second series? It may have been the second series. I'm trying to think of how it ended. But yes, I initially pre-ordered all of them because I knew I wanted to review the entire lot. It was one of those hit and miss things because I uploaded them all within 1 week, I did notice my subscriber count actually went down. Only by maybe 2, but that's 2 people that didn't want to see pop figure reviews every day of the week, which, fair enough, I can hold my hand up and say yes. Placing them on, uploading them like that maybe did upset a couple of people. The Hawkeye figure, the Hot Toys Endgame Hawkeye figure, I reviewed that. Again, great piece. The head sculpt isn't perfect, and trying to get his jacket on as the accessory piece for him to become the Ronin, that is difficult as hell. that really is a struggle. The Bane third party from the Dark Knight trilogy, I picked that guy up. It was his courier outfit with the red helmet. So yes, I've got that. I did review that. I haven't got a date, unfortunately. I did just bullet point these as key things. More recently, and this definitely is more recently, Mass Effect statues from the official BioWare gear store in America. I've been reviewing those, and I've loved doing it because they're really nice statues, and they've been getting a bit of following as well. Certain characters naturally, and some others not. But Tali, Thane are two that I've reviewed recently, and yes, they are, yeah, they're lovely figures, to be fair. They're lovely statues. They're not figures. You can't actually move them. They are fixed. So yes, but they are lovely. If you're a Mass Effect trilogy fan, yeah, they're definitely worth checking out. But keep in mind, the price you pay for the statue online, you've then got to account for shipping as well. They do a points reward system, but naturally it's still a lot of money for what they are. Well, shipping them to the UK, naturally, as we're watching here, if you are watching me, naturally that you could be anywhere basically because it's online. Now, as we are down to the last 5 minutes, let's address the reason I'm really doing this YouTube thing as a theme for today's show, and that is because I've hit 100 subscribers. I started this year with maybe 10, and over this year alone it has climbed to 109 I think at the moment, and I've planned to keep uploading more content, but it's just having the free time. One thing I do want to do, I subscribe to a company called Loot Crate, and the reason I did is because they've got Fallout themed boxes. Fallout 111. Once I get to subscribers 111, I will either go live or I will upload a Fallout themed video based around the Loot Crate Fallout crates that I've received. Bear in mind, I am still waiting on a few to arrive, but I've got plenty of content I can definitely fill that video with. They are a company, I think, in Los Angeles, and they basically make merchandise on a lot of themes, so Harry Potter, Fallout, a whole bunch. I can't think off the top of my head. Before you ask, no, I don't think they do Stranger Things. I don't think they got the license for that yet. But give it time, they're a big enough company. I will say their organisation and shipping to the UK is a bit questionable though. Like I say, I'm still waiting on boxes to arrive from them. But yeah, it's one of those things. But yes, for those watching, thank you for getting me to 100 subscribers. I would like to do a giveaway. I don't know how to do it because I've covered so much stuff on my YouTube channel. I don't know whether to do vouchers for people or just have like a bundle of giveaways, so maybe a display or a voucher for the display company. Something to do with train content, that has to be a giveaway because that's where my channel really started. And then maybe I can definitely do Funko Pops because they're easy enough to get a hold of and I've got absolutely plenty of them. So yes, I will think about doing some sort of giveaway as well. Everybody listening, watching on demand, thank you. You're listening to Nick Kind on Radio Going Willie here at the hospital in Carmarthen on 87.7 FM as well. And again, if you're watching, thank you for taking the time.